when I started getting into metal, I was a teenager, 15 years old, and it was all about, you know, having a cigarette, drinking some beer with some friends, going to a Slayer concert, getting violent. But no, I don't mean hurting people, just, you know, getting aggression out, which was a really good vent for a lot of kids, and it's a real positive thing. And but it's more of that rebellious, youthful adrenaline, anger kind of stuff coming out. But unfortunately, despite the fact you see some famous rock stars stoned or drunk or whatever doing their little rock star thing or being a mess, basically, they you just almost don't have a chance at any kind of success at anything if you're not thinking clearly. Some of us are lucky enough to get through there and not piss people off and make an ass of yourself, and get through it and realize, whoa, I got a problem, and quit and get rid of all that stuff. But your chances just go from here to here when you're doing that. I'm not saying don't party and have fun, but, you know, I remember Pantera, for example. We toured with them in Europe, and I remember sitting there talking to Dimebag and Vinny. We shared a bus with Pantera for 2 months, which was nuts. But I remember them saying that in the early days, Vinny and Dime would sit there and they would watch TV and watch videos on their VHS cassette tapes and make notes of all these different bands, how they moved on stage, what they looked like, what their attitudes were, and how much they liked Van Halen and how much they liked other bands. And they strategically planned a lot of what they were doing and put aside the partying and the stuff that they were famous for in later years, to get the musical and business plans together for their band. And then once they had it going and it was rock, and then they went nuts and partied their brains out and all that stuff. But if you can just try to lay off the drugs and watch the booze, that's probably the biggest damaging thing of anyone's dreams in any kind of thing, not just music. But it's tough because, again, part of that rebellious teenage thing is going out and having some beers and having fun, right? So as long as you can, like, watch have enough control over yourself to make sure you don't go too crazy, and your head's straight. I mean, people get ripped off by managers all the time because all they want to do is go out and drink and play in a band. And when they wake up from that years later and they've lost their deal, or they have no money, or the tax man's after them or whatever, or they're in rehab or whatever, like in my case, you wake up and realize some managers just ripped you off for $500,000 and you have no money. So I was able to recover from that when I was young, but most people don't get a second chance.